Hi Dollar Divas, welcome to Behind the Vanity. I'm Jessica. So today is another chatty get ready with me. It's kind of part of this Makeup and Celebrity Sunday thing that I've been doing. And so we're gonna be using some Dollar Tree makeup today, and most of which, some products are new and then other things are just something that I've maybe only used once that I would like to get a little bit more familiar with and create this look that you see right here. So if you're new to my channel, I do hope that you will hit that subscribe button. It's very easy, quick, free. So if you like Dollar Tree oriented makeup and haul videos, chatty get ready with me's, and all that kind of good stuff, definitely make sure you're subscribed, and I appreciate you joining me. And of course, if you're returning, thank you so much to all my returning Dollar Divas. And while I get ready, I'm gonna be talking about the Queen of Soul herself, Miss Aretha Franklin. Of course, I'm a singer, so I just love anything singer oriented at all. And of course, recently there's been a new, like a 4-part series come out on National Geographic called Genius Aretha that I've only seen snippets of, and it really piqued my interest and made me want to learn a little bit more. And so yeah, this is just gonna be a chatty get ready with me. And so if that sounds good to you, definitely keep on watching. So I'm gonna go into this pink shade here right in the middle and just kind of put it like all over my lid. So Aretha was first signed to Columbia Records, and of course she would end up being signed to a couple different record companies and labels throughout kind of her career. But in 1987, I thought this was really interesting. She was the first female to ever be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I thought was really super interesting. Because, you know, we think of her as the Queen of Soul, but like, I've never thought about her being like rock and roll, but I guess she kind of was, especially a little later into her career. But I thought that was super, super interesting. By 2008, she had won 18 Grammys. I mean, you know, that's a lot. I mean, you know, and there's several people that have won a lot. Like, she's up there with a bunch of other people. Like, she's definitely one of the most like Grammy nominated and Grammy award winning artists of all time. I think Adele is up there with her and a couple others, you know what I mean? Which is just amazing. Yeah, that's just, you know, of course. I mean, she was the second youngest of 5 kids, I believe, and her dad was a reverend and he like had a church, and then her mom was a gospel singer. So of course, I mean, she was just destined to grow up singing in church and all that kind of thing. So it was just like born into her. So now I'm gonna go into that Beauty Benefits single and really just kind of make this a little poppier, make it a little brighter. So she was born Aretha Louise Franklin, which you know, that's one of those names, you don't really know if that was really her name. You know, so many stars change their name, but yeah, Aretha Franklin was her real name. She was born March 25th, 1942, which, interesting fact, when I was kind of writing down notes and researching this, was March 25th. Today is now the 26th. This video will be going up on the 28th, Sunday the 28th, I believe. So I thought that was really interesting. I literally read that and was like, so anyway, I thought that was really cool. Part of me really wants to like wet a brush and put this on, but I think I'm just gonna kind of let it be where it's at for the moment. So her father's name was Clarence, of course, he was a reverend, like I said, and her mom's name was Barbara, and she was a gospel singer. When she was 6, her parents separated, and then 4 years later after that, her mom passed away, unfortunately, of a heart attack. And that was really, really hard on her, you know, just incredibly difficult, as you can imagine, to be 10 years old, lose your mom, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna go into this beautiful green, and I am gonna wet a brush for this, but yeah, I'm gonna go into this beautiful shade right here. I'm gonna get like a flat brush here, and I'm gonna use the Hard Candy Sheer Envy setting spray. I did find this at the Dollar Tree. So again, this was something that I did not know, but when she was about 14 years old, she actually recorded an album at her dad's church by a really small label. And I'm gonna kind of just put this on the lid. Like I said, this is gonna be fun, and we're just playing, so I have no idea where this is gonna go. These colors, look at how pigmented that is. I mean, it's really just unbelievable. Really, really unbelievable. And this was around 1956, and it's believed to be like her earliest recordings. And of course, it was gospel music and all that kind of stuff. And she toured with her dad's traveling revival show. So she really was in the business at a very young age. I mean, that's young, you know what I mean, to tour and do all that kind of stuff. And it led her to adult behaviors. And in some things I've read was that she had her first child at 14. It very possibly maybe 12 or almost 13. Either way, it's super young. And then she had a second child like 2 years later. So she had 2 children very, very young. But also traveling in that revival show were several like really pretty big stars, one of which was Sam Cooke, and I think that was actually like a personal idol of hers. Like she really liked Sam Cooke. So her first 2 children were boys. She did have 2 sons. So before she signed with Columbia, she was being kind of courted by Motown and RCA Records, but she ultimately ended up going with Columbia, which that was Mariah Carey's record company too. You know, of course, that whole Tommy Mottola thing. So I probably would have picked it too, just even though that was like way before Mariah Carey was like probably even born. And her first album, titled Aretha, was released in 1961. But apparently on that album, she wasn't really truly showcased as we kind of know her today, and it really only kind of had moderate success compared to what she would accomplish later on. And that was even considering like 2 of the tracks, like they were like a top 10 on the R&B charts. It still just wasn't gonna be able to compare with what was to come. So I'm gonna kind of smoke this out just a little bit, and I'm gonna go into this LA Colors palette here, and I'm gonna go into this dark shade right here. So after some time, I think kind of with that album not doing very good, she decided to actually move to Atlantic Records. And I believe this was at the time she was recording at Fame Studios down in Muscle Shoals, and in recording there, she was having like problems with the people and stuff like that, and she like abruptly left and didn't finish at the time recording some songs and some music. But she did apparently finish something because it ended up being successful, and it caused her to basically kind of go back in and finish up some other stuff that she had left and stopped recording. So, you know, sometimes success brings out the better in us, sometimes it brings out the worse in us. You know, you just never know. But that was a good thing that happened, because it ultimately, of course, led to everything that was to come. So in 1967 and 1968, she really kind of found her stride, and this is when things really kind of got great for her, you know, professionally. This is where the song Respect comes along, and I had no idea that it was actually a cover of an Otis Redding song. I don't know if he wrote it or just recorded it, but I did not know that. I did not know it was like anybody other than like Aretha's song. But you know, a good cover will do that. If it's a good enough song, you know, just for example, I Will Always Love You, you know, Dolly Parton always says, you know, when I wrote and recorded that song, I laughed all the way to the bank, and then when Whitney Houston recorded it, I bought the bank. An interesting tidbit about that too, if y'all didn't know, was that Elvis actually went to Dolly and wanted to record I Will Always Love You. But the Colonel, that was, you know, of course, managing Elvis at the time, wanted full rights to the song, all this publishing and songwriting, all the rights. Like Dolly would have literally had to have given up the song, and Dolly refused. That could not have been easy for a woman during that time, refusing when Elvis comes and wants to record something, saying no, like, to Elvis, you know what I mean? But she did, and thank goodness she did, because, you know, Whitney just recorded it, and of course she got, you know, Whitney had huge success with it, but so didn't Dolly. Again, that's, like she said, when she bought the bank. That was when she made money, because that is everything, really, is, you know, having them songwriting rights. That's why Taylor Swift has been so successful. She like owns all her music and writes all her music, and so she gets that much more money. You know what I mean? It's crazy how it works. But so I think I'm gonna go back in with more of this pink, and I think I am gonna kind of use a wet brush for this. So with the success of Respect, she went on to win 2 Grammys, and that's kind of when she became like the Queen of Soul. That's kind of when she was dubbed that name. And kind of around this time too, she not only became like really successful with this super huge song, becoming the Queen of Soul, Grammy Award winnings, but she was also really big in the civil rights movement at that time, which the series kind of leads you to believe that her father kind of pushed her into that a little bit, or that her father had something to do with it and everything. And I don't exactly know the details, but she was really instrumental back at that time in the civil rights movement. Okay, so I'm gonna use this brush and wet it, and I just wanna go in and kind of make this pop a little bit more. I think I'm gonna kind of place that on, and then kind of just like buff it just a little bit. Oh yeah, that's kind of what I want. So like over the course of her career, she performed at a lot of like Democratic National Conventions and inaugurations and all that kind of stuff. But kind of the series really shows like a good friendship between her and Martin Luther King Jr. And I think when he passed, it was really hard on her, but she did perform at his funeral when he passed. And in 1969, she divorced. And again, in the series, her husband just didn't really seem to be a good man. You know what I mean? She just kind of had this difficult relationship with her dad and her husband, but they did divorce in 1969, but it did not stop her success. So kind of going into the 70s, she's entering the 70s with of course, just a major career, you know what I mean? Okay, now I wanna make this green pop just a little bit more, and then we might be done with the eyes for just a minute and finish the rest of the face and come back. If you've been on my channel, you know how this goes. Look at how pigmented these are though. I mean, they're so nice. This is a great way to experiment with color. If you don't wanna commit to buying expensive, colorful eyeshadows for fear that it might not be your thing, buy these little trios and even these singles and use them on a wet brush. Or, of course, if you want them to be a little bit more muted, don't wet the brush. But if you want them to be really bright, and just definitely wet the brush. They go on so pigmented. Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So in 1972, Aretha finally released a gospel album called Amazing Grace. And according to what I've read, it became the best-selling gospel album of all time. I don't know if it was just at that time or if that still holds true today. But I believe too, just going back to Elvis, because there is a very kind of a weird thing coming up. If you don't know anything about the death or remember anything about the death of Aretha Franklin, it gets a little crazy. But I think with Elvis, as popular and as famous as he was, never won a Grammy except with gospel, which is crazy, you know what I mean? But, it was just born into them. I mean, that was probably in some ways what they were the best at, because it was in their soul, you know what I mean? Okay, we're gonna move on. So I'm gonna put on lashes, some liner, then we're gonna move on to the face and finish up the eyes later. So I do have a eyeliner. I've used this product before, but I recently just repurchased it because I was needing some liquid liner. And I have not seen this in a while, and lo and behold, I needed just some black liquid eyeliner, like a pen, and they had it. And it's just the LA Colors eye marker in black. And this is it's not the best liquid eyeliner I've ever used, but really it's not bad for $1, seriously. So I'm gonna add a little bit of mascara to my eyelashes just to have on under my fake lashes. So Aretha won 8 consecutive Grammy Awards for the best R&B female vocal performance, which, is not surprising. I mean, she's Aretha. As a singer, and I would consider myself a decent singer. I'm kind of a belter. I'm a big voiced singer, but I've learned to kind of tone it back and appreciate simpler vocal techniques as well. But Respect has never been a really good song for me. It's so hard. You come in just so hot, you know what I mean? It doesn't give you any time to build up to it, you know what I mean? Which, is just a testament to just how good she was, you know what I mean? Okay, so let's put on some of this black liner. Now, kind of moving into the 70s, as everything does happen, the disco moved in, with Donna Summer and Chaka Khan and performers like that. Disco got really big. And so, Aretha's career kind of started stalling out a little bit, as it happens to everybody. New things come in and, new wave of music. And, she wasn't a disco performer, and that was the new thing. That was the hot thing. Also, another fun tidbit, I think Donna Summer was originally from around where I grew up, and when I was in chorus class, or when I was in high school in my chorus class, I was in the class with her goddaughter, with Donna Summer's goddaughter, which is interesting. And at the time, I didn't really appreciate it, and then now it's oh, tell me more about your Aunt Donna. You know what I mean? At the time, I didn't care, you know what I mean? It was irrelevant to me when I was in high school, but now it's So around this time, 1978, she remarried, and then the next year, in 1979, she ended her contract with Atlantic Records. And it was kind of mutual. It was just due to poor sales. She had gone through the 70s now with this new disco era. So just, all things must come to an end, Okay, so I'm gonna add lashes, and I haven't used these in a while. I think I've only used these once. These are the LA Colors Jewel Eyes, and we're gonna be wearing these today. So around this time, she had some IRS troubles, and her dad his health was declining. But in the year, just as everyone that sticks with things, you know what I mean? I love a good comeback story. A good comeback story is always something that's great to experience. So I think it was 1980, the Blues Brothers movie came out, which was just huge, you know what I mean? And so she kind of had a part in that with the song Think. And it really opened up her and her music to a new generation now. I mean, now this is 1980. So it revived her career. I mean, thank goodness for it. And so that's a really great thing and just very much needed for her at that time. And then so around this time, she went ahead and signed a new contract with Arista Records. And her career had just gotten a little bit of a revitalization, So in 1982, she released the album Jump to It. Luckily, it was a big success and it led to Grammy nomination, which is great. You know, like I said, I love a good comeback story, and I'm sure that felt good at that time. You know what I mean? You just still, you know, everyone wants to remain relevant. You know what I mean? Around that time, she divorced again, and her dad also passed away. So, you know, lots of changes at that time for her. So then, I love this song. So in 1986, she released a duet with George Michael, which I was never sure if it was George Michael or Kenny Loggins. Now that it, like in my mind, but it's George Michael, which who does not love George Michael's voice? But in 1986, she recorded and released Knew You Were Waiting, and it was a big success. It was #1 on the pop charts. And also around this time, she earned a doctorate. I had no idea, but she had earned a doctorate from the University of Detroit, which is super impressive. I think that's always great when, you know, performers, sometimes we get so stuck in performing. We sometimes lose sight of other things that we can do. And so I just think that's always great when someone does something else for themselves. So that's super impressive to me. And then she kind of took a little bit of a break, kind of went through a little quiet period, probably more so for herself, just to kind of rest and just recover from everything and all that kind of thing. Of course, you know, now she's getting older, you know what I mean? And that changes things, you know. But she performed at Bill Clinton's inauguration. And that was just something she kind of did from time to time, you know what I mean? She actually performed it some earlier in her career, I think like Carter and one other person. And in 2003, she released her last studio album with Arista. It was called So Damn Happy. And I've never heard of that album. I'm sure I know songs off of all these albums that she did, but I'm sure, and I know that she's like, there's a lot of things, like she's one of those people that just like has recorded everything. So like if you've heard a song, the odds are like Aretha has like a version of it as well, you know what I mean? But she also, another thing, I think I knew this at one point, but I had forgotten, she earned a Presidential Medal of Freedom, which again is super cool. I'm gonna use this e.l.f. eyeliner. It's just in black. I got it some time ago at the Dollar Tree. I'm just gonna kind of go into my waterline, and then we're gonna kind of move on to the face. So for my face, I'm not 100% sold on this, but I'm gonna go in with the Flower Beauty Tinted Moisturizer and use concealer. So, and this is in the shade TM6. I'm gonna give it another try. This look is a little dramatic for a tinted moisturizer, but usually with enough concealer, I can make it work. So we're just gonna give it a try. I think the last time I used this is in my makeup basket this month, and I'm just gonna apply this with my fingers because I feel like that's the best way to apply a tinted moisturizer. I may be wrong about that. I feel like this color is just a little, not so much that it's too dark for me, it's just a little bit off from my skin tone. But we are gonna make it work because that's what we always do. And my mind can almost always be changed. So she, you know, she won the Presidential Medal of Freedom. She was also the second woman ever to be inducted into the UK Music Hall of Fame, which again is super cool. You know, I sometimes forget that people like in the United States get like really famous in other countries too. Like, and I just forget, you know what I mean? So that's super cool. You know, with some bronzer and everything, I don't think I'm gonna hate the color. It's just gonna have to really be evened out, that's all. It's okay, it's fine, it's fine. I don't know if I like this. It really looks very, look at that. It just looks very bad. It looks very, very, very bad. I'm gonna keep it on because this is a Dollar Tree testing makeup, but this may be a no-go for me. So we will just see. But like I said, I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna finish this look. I'm not gonna take it off. I'm gonna keep it on. And like I said, a lot of it's probably just the color, but it is very splotchy too, and that is not cute. I think that may have saved it a little bit. We'll kind of see what powder can do as well. And I think I'm gonna go with a lighter powder. Maybe contouring and all that good stuff will help too. So I'm gonna use my LA Colors contour sticks. I've got light and dark. So I'm just gonna kind of go in with this. I think at this point, every little thing I do will help. I think this helped a little bit. It's distracting away from the splotchiness. It just looks so bad though. This is not a product for me. Just not a product, you know, there's gotta be a miss every now and again, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna go in with these. I used these in I think my last Dollar Tree makeup tutorial, but they were so nice I wanna try them again. It's the LA Colors blush sticks and the glow stick. So it's a blush and a highlighter. The blush is in Flushed and the highlighter is in Halo. I'm gonna go in with this first and then use a little bit of bronzer. So kind of the way I did this last time was I just took a brush and just went like this. And that just seems to be the nicest way to do this. And as always, I probably went a little bit overboard. I'm very new to these cream products, so, and I always go a little bit overboard with blush anyway, I feel. So now for bronzer, I'm gonna use one of my old favorites. This is the Beauty Benefits Hollywood Matte Bronzer. I've had this for a while. And let's try to even this out. Let me try to get down my neck a bit. So in 2008, Aretha collabed with Mary J. Blige, which of course was just super relevant, you know, just really just had been around for a while, just super beloved and popular. And they did a song called Never Gonna Break My Faith. And it won Aretha her 18th Grammy. So that was her last Grammy. And what a way to go, you know what I mean? And she also performed at Obama's inauguration around that time. And then in 2011, she released her first album on her own label, which is stars, you know, singers, when they get big enough, they will do that. They'll start their own labels and stuff like that. And then around 2017, she officially retired after doing a collaboration with Stevie Wonder, which, is there anybody on this planet that does not love Stevie Wonder? I mean, you know, like you never hear people say like, I don't love Stevie Wonder. I don't love his music. I don't love his voice. I don't love his spirit. Like, does anyone not like Stevie Wonder? Like, I don't think there's anyone that does not like something that Stevie Wonder has put out. You know what I mean? So I just going in with this highlighter, just doing it the same way, just kind of with a brush, and a little of it goes a long way, just like with the blush as well. So now I'm gonna try to salvage this with some powder. Then we're gonna move back to the eyes. So I'm gonna use my Coverall, my Wet n Wild Coverall pressed powder. This is in Fairlight, and I think this could help things. So she passed away in 2018 of apparently pancreatic cancer. And on some of her last photos, of course, you know, it was showing and all that kind of stuff, but she passed away in 2018. And the crazy thing, and I find this just kind of crazy, these kinds of things they always get me. She died the same day as Elvis. I just think, I mean, you know, granted, I know that there is it's a 1 in 365 chance. So what are the chances? 1 in 365, realistically. I mean, you know, we would win the lottery a whole lot more often if our odds were 1 in 365. That helped a lot. Kind of everything I did helped a lot. But yeah, overall, this is not a fan, but I was able to salvage it for this look. But yeah, I just think that it's crazy that the King of Rock and Roll, I think that's Elvis's title, is King of Rock and Roll, and the Queen of Soul passed away on the same day. Of course, many, many, many years apart. But I just think, again, it's just, I don't know. It's just such a, there's something beautiful about it to me in a way. I don't know. It's just such a, I don't know. It seems perfect. You know what I mean? And I do think when she passed, there was a lot of controversy over her will. I had heard, I don't know how true this is, that she had literally written something on a napkin. I don't know how true that is. That was just something I've heard. So of course, I remember like last year, early last year, they were gonna be coming up with this movie called Respect with Jennifer Hudson playing Aretha. And oh my God, I mean, if Jennifer Hudson is not everything, I mean, I think she's one of the best singers to come out of American Idol. She was magnificent in Dreamgirls. So for the eyes, to kind of help finish off the eyes, I'm gonna put this Beauty Benefits Single in Sugar, kind of under my brow bone. But, you know, of course, before COVID, they were gonna be coming out, I think FX was gonna have like a series on Aretha. And then Jennifer Hudson had a movie that was gonna be coming out, I wanna say it was gonna be like October of that year. And we were super excited, me and my husband, because I love a biopic. And so and me and my husband don't go to the movies very often. But like for the right movie, we'll go, and we found this really great movie theater where you can like order alcohol and you have recliners and tables and stuff in our area. So we love to go there just a couple times a year and just see the right movie. You know, it's just so fun. And so we were just totally looking forward to seeing this movie. But of course with COVID, I think it all got kind of pushed back. But I did read that it is coming out on August 13, 2021, which of course, they're timing it to be around the anniversary of her death. I guess it would be the 3-year anniversary of her death. So I understand it, although I hate that we have to wait till then, but we waited this long. But yeah, so I'm super excited to see that. I still have to kind of see if FX is coming out with their series or if they already have. Like I said, I really do need to sit down. I want to watch the entire Genius Aretha and just watch the whole thing. Like I said, I caught some of it and then I didn't watch it the next night, and so I want to sit down and really watch the whole thing. Because I'm really weird. I don't like to come in on the middle of something. I have FOMO. Like, I feel like, no, before I see the whole rest of it, I want to start at the beginning. I'm just a little weird in that way. Like I said, I did catch some of it, but I really do want to watch it from, like, the beginning. Okay, so I'm going to line under my eyes, do an inner corner highlight, and then do lips. So I think for an inner corner highlight, I'm going to go into this other LA Colors trio. This is in Water Lily. I've swatched this, but I have not yet used it, so I'm going to go in with that, just on a little brush. But yeah, all those titles, you know, I don't know exactly all of them. Like, you have Elvis, he's the king of rock and roll. You've got Aretha, that is the queen of soul. And then is it Madonna that's the queen of pop? Or is that Britney Spears that's the queen of pop? I don't exactly know. And then I think Michael Jackson is the king of pop. And I don't know if there's more titles. If you know of any, definitely comment them down below. And then you have like your country music ones, like Patsy Cline or somebody is like, there's like the first lady of country, and then there's the queen of country, and I don't always exactly know who the title goes to, you know what I mean? Now the question is, what do I want to line with under my eyes? I think I'm going to use some of this pink again, and we'll go from there. I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure, but of course as a singer, I loved like all of the, I was any kind of a diva I loved when I was like growing up. I loved Celine, I loved Whitney, I loved Mariah. I couldn't appreciate like Carole King or Barbra Streisand or Bette Midler until I got older. I loved Gloria Estefan growing up. Now this is now something that I'm looking to do every Sunday. These kind of get ready with me's where I talk about anything pop culture, celebrity oriented, television, movie oriented. So if you have any ideas, any things that you would like to see or people that you would like to hear about or anything like that, definitely comment down below and let me know, because I'm always looking to, of course there's a lot of people that I know stuff about, and then there's a lot of people that I want to learn about. So, and I just might not always think of them. So if you have any ideas that you want me to cover, definitely put them down in the description box below. I think my eyes are done. I'm going to leave them there. Gosh, that green is so pretty. I've been on such a pink and green kick lately. I mean, I've always loved pink and green, but I feel like it's really showing lately. So now for lips, I've tried one of these Beauty Benefits lip products in my last Get Ready With Me. I will have my entire Dollar Tree makeup and haul playlist linked down below, as well as the Get Ready With Me's that I've done like this, all linked down below. The Beauty Benefits Lasting Flush Liquid Lip Color Matte. And the shade names are not on the containers, which is annoying, but it's just a beautiful pink. So we're gonna go in with this and just see if I like this as much as I like the lip gloss. My lips have been so chapped. It's just like the weather's getting warmer and they're just still chapped. They're just always chapped. So I hope you enjoyed another chatty Get Ready With Me talking about the Queen of Soul. Of course, because the genius Aretha came out recently on National Geographic, and it's been just all the buzz on television and all that good stuff. So I just felt like talking about the Queen of Soul today and testing out some new Dollar Tree makeup and some old favorites or some things that I've only used one time or 2 times. And yeah, just kind of got this fun makeup look. I don't know if I would call it a spring makeup look necessarily, but definitely having some fun, just kind of trying some new eyeshadows and trying some things out just a little bit more. So anyways, if you did enjoy this video, show me you did by hitting that like button. Like I said, I will have my Dollar Tree makeup and haul playlist, as well as my makeup and celebrities playlist linked down below in the description box, so you can binge watch my other videos like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.